Hey, it's Coach T. This is another one of my Affinity Publisher 2 videos for adult learners like myself or somebody trying to make something really cool with this neat software. I've talked a lot about why I like Affinity in other videos, so I'm not going to get into that in this intro. But I will say that if you like this kind of head-first, honest, practical approach towards building beautiful things, consider subscribing to my channel. I've still got lots of these videos in Affinity Publisher that I'll be putting out over the next couple weeks. My goal here is for you to walk away knowing more about this software and being more empowered to make really cool stuff. So, okay, let's get into it. I so far have left off doing something like a table of contents simply because we didn't have enough content to fill the book with, and I wanted to demonstrate a little bit about how it works. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to this mostly unused front-facing page, which would be normally page 1 in my spread. This would be the first page on the inside with the inside of the front cover sitting somewhere over here. What we want to do, I like to work with the wipers on, is we're just going to make a text field. So make sure you've got your text icon selected or hit T. Make sure you got the right T. And let's get a text style we can actually see. We'll do body. And then we're going to go to the top nav bar. We'll go to text. Scroll down to where it says table of contents. And you want to insert, at least at first, the table of contents. Now, don't worry, because when I click this button, it's going to look like a jumbled mess. We'll talk about why that is. But at any point, you can always come back and update the table of contents to get new page numbers. Affinity does not update it on its own. You do need to come back and update it. So make sure before you do your final export, this should be one of the last steps that you do, because that way your page numbers are situated. That's another reason why I've left off it until now. It's one of the last steps that you should be doing. So we'll insert, okay. Now, you might notice right away it doesn't say table of contents, but you know what? We have the power to fix that with a heading 1. We'll do it in this color, and we'll do table of, you know what? I've noticed this happens periodically. My spacebar just does not want to work. Table of contents, table contents, great. Table of contents. Okay, now we have this table of contents page. But we're looking at this going, what the heck? Why are there all these headings? Well, we can do a couple of different things to calibrate the table of contents. First of all, over here, and actually let me pull this tray out a little bit. We've visited this tray already at this point. But before we only had pages, we had stock that we ignored, we did find and replace, we did pre-flight, and we did not touch the books tab. We're not going to touch the books tab. It's not relevant right now. But once we insert the table of contents, this is now open. And what it's doing is it's scanning all the time for anything that has the heading 1 or heading 2, right? So if I unclick that, now I only see the ones that have heading 1 versus heading 2. And typically heading 2 is a subheading, right? So we only want heading 1. Now, what might happen if we'll leave that on for a second. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the Pages tab over here, top left. And on every page, we're just going to go in. And this is a heading 1. We're going to make sure that every single page is technically a heading 1. Don't worry about the color for now. Although, you know what? We will just update this. Update heading 1. And do like that. Okay. Project challenge. This is a heading 1. We'll just do ads. Who cares where it goes, right? And then here, title will become heading 1. And then here, project challenge, we will make this a heading 1. Don't worry about the layout right now. We're demonstrating a point. Project challenge, and then Green Lakes will also become a heading 1. Okay. Now, you can see, I go back to my table of contents. Now, by clicking and unclicking that, I forced it to refresh the document, and now it's actually showing me all of the pages that I put a heading 1 on. So you might also notice that you can't see the page numbers on the table of contents. Once in a while, for whatever reason, that will get buried. The option is here in this hamburger menu right here. So on heading 1, I want to click on the hamburger menu, include page numbers, and boom, there we go. I can also control the level of indent, although I think because this is justified. No, it's not left justified. That's strange. What if we pull this across like this and center it? That's what I did in one of the game books that I contributed on, is we centered it kind of like this, just so it didn't feel like it was wasting a lot of page space, but it did have plenty of room for the variable length that some titles can go to. So another thing that you can do here is your separator. And at the moment we don't have anything, we just have this. But we could do bullets. We could do an M space. We could do, and notice it's going to keep adding these on. We could also just go like this. And then I believe if justifying it did not work. Okay. That might be, I've worked with this before. Let me see if I can remember how I did this. We'll do a tab, and then can we smush it together? No. Okay. Let me see. Let's walk away from the separator. We're going to go over here to the paragraph menu instead. And we are going to spread this out like that because it does not seem to like updating live. And we're going to go to tab stops right here. And we are going to add a tab stop. We're going to add 0.5 inches, more options. We're going to do that one. There we go. Okay, so notice how that worked. Let me back up, Control Z. Make sure you select all the text. And also, just one really quick thing before I do the tab stops. I don't really want table of contents sitting here. I have two options. I can either just straight up delete it, or if I don't want it there, I could also just make this a different type, and then text, table of contents, update table of contents, and now it's no longer there. So both of those options work, although if you do just delete it off the table of contents, note that the next time that you update it, surprise, surprise, like bad news, it'll be back. So sometimes deleting is worth it if you're at the end of a project and you know there are no more changes. It's the last thing out the door. That could be a time to fix it. Otherwise, I would probably just defer to having a different heading based on this. Maybe even a text style specific for pages like table of contents or index that you might not want inside the actual table of contents. I've said that word so much. So anyway, okay, make sure everything in your table of contents is selected, and then go to tab stops here under the paragraph tab over on the right. Scroll down if you can't find it. There's a whole bunch of options in here, but find tab stops, default spacing. That tells you how far over each tab is going to go. And we can do one. We're shrinking it, right? Okay. Click on this, more options, and then click the dots. And now you have that nice, neat, organized automatically. You don't have to fight or fuss with how that looks, but I can stretch it, I can smush it, however far apart I want to go. That's how many dots this thing will insert. They don't spread out, it just keeps adding new dots on there for you. So that's a tab stop. So there's how you make a table of contents. I want to keep this video under 10 minutes. I'll come back in the next one with how to add an index, which is an interesting thing in and of itself, and we're going to look at some document segmenting and sectioning strategies, which we're getting into intermediate stuff. It's kind of not really a quick dive anymore. It's going to be kind of an intermediate dive. So if you like this kind of headfirst, practical, adult learner friendly tutorial in learning how to make something beautiful and cool and working smart, not hard, consider subscribing to my channel, and I will catch you in the next one. I was happy to have taught you today.